Hi, I'm Rika from rikabrandon.com, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about how to network in a way that's easy and actually feels good. So if I invited you to a networking event, would you make an excuse not to go, or think about if it was worth it, because you're probably going to see that guy who just won't take no for an answer, and all those other ones who are going to be shoving their card at you and then following up with you to grab a cup of coffee afterward? Maybe it's a little bit of both. But if you're looking to grow your team, or your business for that matter, you have to learn to embrace networking. So what I'm going to do is share with you some simple tips and tricks you can use to make networking easy and accessible to anyone, even if you're introverted. So the first thing is, kind of flip your script on it. Networking isn't about what somebody can do for you, it's about what you can do for them. How can you help them make the connections they need? We're curious about it. What are they talking about? What are you wondering about? By nature, I'm extremely curious, and that makes me a great networker and a great connection maker because I ask a lot of questions, and I remember, and I think, hey, you're frustrated with your phone system? I was just talking to Bob, and they actually have some cool stuff. I don't know, I've never worked with Bob, but you might want to reach out to him and connect. So I encourage you to go to networking with an open mind to grow your business and just grow those relationships and build that social capital that helps you get things done for your business. So what I want to talk about specifically today is how to network when you're sort of doing some undercover recruiting, when you're trying to figure out, is this somebody I want to approach about working for my company? Is this someone I think could be a great member of my team? You will make better connections, you will find better people, and you will have more fun if you are curious when you're at a networking event. And what I mean by curious is asking questions that, yes, they answer things you want to know as a potential employer, but they're also just conversational and essentially small talk. So a simple way is, so have you always lived here, or did you move here for school? So kind of whatever the conversation flow is, hey, so have you always lived here? And I'm in Fargo, North Dakota. So that's a really common question. So have you always lived in Fargo? Or are you from one of the many, many small towns around? Or did you come here for a job? We're never really sure why people landed in our town. For you as a potential employer, it's great because you find out, do they have roots in the community? Have they grown up here? Are they tied here? Is their family here? Or did they just move here for a job? For example, in North Dakota, the winters are harsh. And so if somebody just moved in here in July for a job, most of us North Dakota employers are like, yeah, well, we'll see if you're here next January. Because the winter wipes out a lot of people. It just does. And that's just the reality of having some harsh things. If you're in a very small town, yeah, it sounds quaint and awesome to live in the small town America until you realize there's one grocery store and it closes at 7 o'clock and you aren't going to be able to run out and buy something, that you want from a Target because the nearest one's an hour away. So some of this you'll know about your market. But anyway, so those are some ways that you can kind of find out and just get that background information. Another great question is, how did you get into insert profession here? So how did you get into marketing? Most people will give you a little brief bio of their career history. Like, well, I always loved design. I was really into art in high school, so I went and got my degree, and I got an internship with, so-and-so communications company, and I've been there ever since. Okay, well, you just pretty much got their resume in a verbal answer. Lots of people will say, you know what, one thing led to another and I just landed here, but I love it. Or some people will be pretty honest and be like, yeah, I needed a job and this seemed like a good fit and it pays the bills. So you're getting a lot of information by simply being curious. How did you land in sales? What made you choose marketing? Again, super conversational, it's small talk, nobody feels like they're being interrogated. Nobody feels like they're being interviewed, but you're getting information you can use to decide if you want to take it to that next step. Another easy way to get a little bit of information is to say, how did you land with XYZ company? Or what brought you to XYZ company? Very conversational. It's natural to be curious how somebody landed with a company, and people will tell you. And then you find out, oh, they were recruited, or actually they got an internship there and they've never left, or it's actually their family business, or it's their wife's family business. Whatever, you find out lots of things that tell you if this is something that's going to be worth pursuing or not really. Because if it's their family's company, it's probably unlikely you're going to be able to recruit them. They're going to come to you if anything shifts. So let's say that they're not currently employed, or they work for a company that's very similar to yours, but they're not there anymore, but it's come up that they worked there in the past. You could say, so why did you end up leaving XYZ company? Very conversational. It could be they had a different opportunity. It could be they got laid off. For the most part, nobody is thinking that it's an interview question. They're just thinking like, why'd you decide to move on? So there's lots of ways you can frame it. So one is, so why did you decide to move on? Or what made you decide to leave XYZ company? Or what happened? Why did you end up not working with XYZ any company more? There's a lot of ways you can say it, and people will tell you. And at the end of the day, if they got fired, they're not going to tell you that at a networking event, for the most part, hopefully not. But for the most part, if it's a pretty neutral answer, they're going to share it with you. So something, if they're currently in sales and you're looking for a salesperson or marketing or IT, whatever, it's to be like, so what do you love best about marketing? What's your favorite part of the job? And then you find out that they love the metrics. Oh my gosh, they love the metrics. They could crunch numbers all day long, which is super weird for a marketing person. So sometimes that's great though. But if you're looking for a graphic designer, this probably isn't the tree you want to bark up. So it's kind of that, like, so what do you love? For most people, if they're in sales, what do you love about sales? They're like, I just love helping my customers. I love getting them the services they need and making sure that we can get it done. I just love that. I love being a problem solver. Well, that's a great answer if you're looking for a salesperson. Sometimes they're working for kind of a renowned company in your town. For example, in Fargo, there's a large Microsoft campus. And it's difficult for small companies to recruit against Microsoft in a lot of ways. Just their benefits package is outstanding. They have name recognition. It's difficult. So if somebody's working there and I'm recognizing it's unlikely I'm going to be able to afford them or recruit them away, then I say like, what do you love about working at Microsoft? What's your favorite part? Because by learning that, I learn what motivates them. So if they say, I just love it, they have a gym on site and I can work out whenever I want in the middle of the day if I'm stressed out, and you don't have a gym on site and that's not in the plan, okay, well, that's something I'm not going to be able to sell through. But if they say, I just love the problem solving, it's a little bit corporate, but I really love being able to dig in and solve problems for my customers. Well, you just got a hint there. A little bit corporate is code for it's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of paperwork and I don't really like it. So that is great for the small business because you've identified a hot spot that you can sort of probe into and, over the next few months kind of develop that relationship where maybe you're going to ultimately try to recruit them, and you've been gathering information like this, little individually insignificant items that help you create an amazing opportunity for that person. So let's say you're feeling really brave and really bold and I want this person. I want to talk to them more. I am feeling it and I'm going to talk to them directly. So here's a couple ways you can do that. The first one is to get out your card and just say, hey, do you ever think about making a change? Because you have a ton of talent. And if you're interested at all in making a career change, I'd love to talk to you about our organization and some of the opportunities we have. And be prepared. Most people are going to be surprised and they'll be like, oh, thanks. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of open. And then you quickly hand them your card because you want to get that prompted. Don't expect them to be like, great, let's set up coffee. Let's do this thing. Not going to happen. I've been recruiting people for a long time and it's almost unsettling if they're too eager to do it. But for the most part, you've planted a seed and that seed is going to grow and then be like, a new opportunity, here's this. So when you have that coffee date or that lunch date, you really are talking about, so what are you thinking about, what are you looking for in your next position? Because you want to make sure that what they're looking for is something you can reasonably deliver on. So that's it. Another way is to just flat out say, hey, here's the deal. You're extremely talented. I'd love to have you on my team. Could we set up a time to go to coffee and talk a little bit more about it to see if it's something that could potentially be a good fit for you? I encourage you not to say that unless you are very, very certain that you want to hire them, because it's awkward to extract yourself from a direct recruit like that. That's hardcore. If you get to an interview or two in and you're like, it turns out he's a jerk. He is much better at networking events than in the hour-long one-on-one conversation. So I kind of encourage you not to do that, but sometimes they're awesome. They're a player. They've been doing it for years. You know them. They're above board. They're a good guy, good gal. Sometimes you're going for it. And what's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to say no. Who cares? That happens. That's part of recruiting. So these are ways for you to network and do a little undercover recruiting and really learn about those candidates that you might want to actually pursue to hire for your company. So I hope this helps. And another tip for networking events, go in and just think, I'm going to have 3 meaningful conversations. Not talk to 30 people. I'm going to have 3 meaningful conversations. So that means you've spent an hour networking, you've spent maybe 10 minutes with 3 different people and otherwise a little bit mingled. but you walked away with some level of relationship built with 3 people. So I hope this helps. Happy hiring!